Here we go. Joining me now for the top 8 is Lee Moodley with Nick as well. Nick's going to be here for this game and then he's going to be making his way. But Lee, having lost out, unfortunately, in that last game.
To Pieter, who is on our right-hand side there, playing Ricardo on control. So, as you can see, the power of Green-White Company in the previous round. Turn 2 comboing off and getting nice and lucky with his hits. Helioid Company into Spike Feeder, giving him infinite life and infinite damage. The reason I conceded is I have no way out of beating infinite life. So I could make my opponent kind of do that, but I don't think it would have been fun for stream.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So in competitive play, you're allowed to make your opponent play out those round hands, just to either for time, either for kind of concession, and yeah, it's very difficult to beat infinite life if you don't have an out to it. So people ask me why I didn't play a Jace, what's it, Jace the...
Mine's called.
Yeah, that's the one. The one recently unbanned, well I say recently, but he was unbanned. And he hasn't made a showcase into Modern recently, so it's a bit of a slow meta, that's why I didn't kind of put it in the deck, but bad beats are bad beats, but we can only get better from understanding the game. So hopefully you guys are ready.
We're ready. I hope they're ready.
Yeah.
I hope you guys out there are ready. I see Aimless is back, screaming combo. And Reaction has put in JGMS, which I'm not sure what that stands for.
Jace the Mind Sculptor.
There we go.
Yep, that's the 4 mana that gives you an option to kind of, I think the ultimate. Yeah, knock him out the game, make sure he doesn't draw anything that is too useful. But yeah, Modern's in a very aggressive space, especially after the release of Ragavans and Darcy's.
Sure.
So Ricardo's on blue-white. Everyone's been asking, do you have his list there for us? Because everyone has been wondering whether he's on Fire Ice, and yes, he is running for Fire Ice main deck. So it's a good call, great control card, amazing addition to Modern from Modern Horizons. So yeah, the guys are off to the start. Ricardo taking a damage, probably going to take 2 life. I think Ricardo on the play, having being seated at number 1 spot, actually choosing not to ID in the last round, knowing that he's on control and the play matters so much, and you can see very experienced player and taking taking 1 damage for
Just taking 1 damage, did on the end of Peter's turn.
Yeah. Ragran Triumph there, I think, as an addition for Prismatic Ending, allowing him to answer permanents a little bit more expensive than 2 mana. Just most of the blue-white lists are just adding a extra source. So usually the Triumphs are like nice easy addition, giving you access to maybe 4 mana to answer some pesky planeswalkers and creatures. So Ricardo off to a good start, ensuring being on the play, allowing him to turn 1 Chalice. I think this has probably been his most frequent play, and just knowing that there's footfalls, there's burn, prowess in the matchups, really getting him to that advantage, muting almost most players' hands, Darcy's, Ragavans, Unholy Heats. So
we like Unholy Heat. It burns Teferis.
Yeah, well, he's playing Teferis and protecting them against Unholy Heats by playing Chalice on 1.
This is bad. We do not like this deck.
No one likes control decks. Generally, new players.
In the Temple Garden,
Yeah.
Shocking in Temple Garden, taking 2.
Yeah. So generally, newer players don't like control decks because it feels like they can never do anything. You can see Ricardo sitting there with 2 nice, beautiful Mystical Archive counter spells. I'm a really big fan of those. Actually, like 4.
4 of them. 3 of them. Wow.
So, in a really good position. Sanctify, not the best.
How much damage is that
in this matchup? 2 damage. Playing a Conclave Mentor, allowing him to add +1/+1 counters. Something that I've learned today while I was playing against the deck. I played against Jacques Henning, also in Green-White Helioid. He managed to play against him in round 4, and you gain 2 life or gain life equal
It's
to
dead, but he gains the 2 life.
Yeah. So Fire Ice obviously not able to target the Sanctifier, protection from red and black.
Yep.
Also exiling spells. So I think that we just gotta let the guys know that Fire Ice is exiled. So Ricardo won't get access to that in the. If he is playing Snapcasters, I'm not sure. Is Ricardo playing Snapcasters?
We can have a look at the list quick.
3 Fairy Solitude. No.
I see no Snapcasters.
So not having a way to kind of play the spells from his graveyard, so not really making any difference to the matchup. Just to make sure, these are just game state effects that ensure that everything is kind of kept to a high standard, especially now that we're playing 2 top 8. Every advantage kind of working to its, every kind of game action having a meaning in a way. So you can see Ricardo countering a Ranger Captain.
Nothing on there that says about exiling.
No, it's a red spell, and Sanctify exiles any red or black spell.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. Reaction say cabins. Yep. Control decks. My cabins are really good against control decks. So I'm not sure if Pieter is playing any. I don't think there's any.
Aimless is just picking on me. He wants me to play Modern next time so I can get salty about stuff.
Oh, dude,
that's just rude.
Dude.
But yes, Reaction, I'll take you up on that. I'll try a game of Modern when we're down in Cape Town next weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot of salt happening to this top 8. This was probably one of the toughest top 8s to make it into, just because the field was so strong and you really needed a 5-1 to confirm it. I know Stefan Rutz, from Solarpop, was
heavy odd on the board.
Just missed it, being the only 4-1-1 to miss out on top 8.
Countering that.
Yeah. So yeah.
And swing for 2.
So what Pieter is really looking for is a collected company,
allowing
him to play on the end step, allowing him to hopefully tap or play out and an instant speed game. I think that's what his best card in this matchup is, although I think Ricardo is pretty favored with some pre-verdicts, allowing him to control the board. And Teferi, Time Reveler also...
Another Heliod.
You can bounce the Heliod with the big Teferi.
Just going to straight up counter it again.
Yeah. And I think you can also bounce it with Little Teferi, because it's also enchantments and creatures. Yeah, so Little Teferi and Big Teferi really paying dividends. I know Ricardo used to play Tron, the last national qualifiers. I played against him in the first round for the one that was hosted at Nexus. But I think he feels that Control has a better fearing against a wider field. So Skyclave getting rid of the Little Teferi.
Yep. What was the creature that Pieter had on the board before the Skyclave?
What was it? The Sanctify and Vec.
Okay.
Was he exiled with the prismatic or?
I think bounced with the Teferi.
Just bouncing it just to get the nice tempo. I think keeping his life total, and as he doesn't really have any big answers at this point in time.
So sorry guys, just to come back to what Lee was talking earlier about Fire and Ice. Sanctify and Vec is the reason that Fire and Ice should be exiled, because if a black or red permanent spell or card not on the battlefield will be put into a graveyard, exile it instead.
So I know, speaking to Jacques, because Pieter got this list from Jacques, the only difference between their two lists is I think a Misty Rainforest and a Flooded Strand. Both play, I think that was a nice hedge call. Jacques behind me
counter
here.
spell.
Yeah, play the deck designer, if you want to call it. Really good metacore for SA, with all the burn and prowess running around. Also a nice addition to kind of keeping the graveyards, especially Darcy as well. Darcy decks really being broken through. I don't know if we have any Darcy decks. It's Sarvesh. Yeah, Sarvesh is playing blue-white Murktide, so if he does go through, we might have an opportunity to watch that. So Pieter just doing the general value creature game. This is where the deck also kind of shines. It's got a nice mid-range approach rather than just having the combo to allow them to almost instantly win, they've got really value efficient creatures.
We saw, I mean, Pieter's last game against
Me.
against you when he came out with a chill. Against you when he came out with that combo, it was just ridiculous. I mean, it can just boom win a game.
So I'm glad we got that on camera because I know Jacques' been telling everyone.
He's run away again.
Yeah, I was hoping you could chat because he's one of our good players and he has a really good understanding of the modern.
Oh, there's a Coco.
There's the Coco. Let's see. So
Can't quite see what Pieter's drawing there.
So Pieter kind of feels like this is free after going through, I think, 3 counter spells.
No,
that's a big whiff.
That's a big whiff, but he knows.
That's the elf, right? The elf that untaps land?
Yes. So
untaps forests.
Yeah, untaps the forest. That's the one that he used to combo off to get the
Correct.
2/2 Coco. And you can see the power of that, The Utopia Sprawl, the Arbor Elf's also been recently a recent addition into Amulet Titan. I don't know if we've seen a lot of.
Haven't seen that.
Yeah, there was maybe 1 or 2 lists running around.
Why is it that modern deck lists have such cool names?
Just because it's been around, and
Hey?
and people like to it's a way of branding it.
Sure.
It's a way of kind of putting your stamp, especially as a player that designs a deck. You kind of want to kind of create it and kind of own that deck, and by naming it and giving it a nice kind of name, kind of a ring to it, people also kind of get a bit more interested and want to play that.
Because now I want to play a Grixis dress down deck because I just like the way that sounds. But two things that sound cool to me. First is Grixis,
Yeah.
and secondly it says dress down, which means I'm gonna take all your stuff. You're gonna do nothing.
Yeah. So Pieter hitting a Coco here. I think you might have taken a damage off the Horizon Canopy to play that. Oh my gosh, that's another whiff. Wow. And
what was that? Oh.
yeah, so I remember talking to Jacques a few weeks ago about the list, and he is running 26 creatures, if I'm not mistaken, or 29 creatures. That's kind of the probability count. So as you can see, variance really coming into play here.
Sure.
For Pieter, I feel like he might have been burnt out all his luck in that last turn 3 combo. But going for the Spreading Seas on the Horizon Canopy. Ricardo obviously seeing that Pieter is a little hellbent here, knowing that if he has...
Why would he be targeting that canopy?
So Canopy is really good in this build because it gives you that mid-range value. So if you are flooding out, as Pieter feels like it gives him an extra card. So it allows him to dig deeper and get a little bit of advantage from your mana base.
Okay.
So these Horizon lands were introduced around Modern Horizons 1.
Sure.
However, Horizon Canopy has been through since Future Sight. So an interesting fact, Future Sight cards all have to kind of get a reprint through Standard. So when they designed the set, they said these cards are going to be available at some point in time in the future.
Sure.
So that's kind of where it is, and that also allows.
Is that the Walking Ballista?
Yeah, for 2. So going for Walking Ballista for 2, when it enters, so whenever a creature gets a counter, so Conclave Mentor will at least add another counter.
Add +1, yeah.
Yeah, so giving him a nice answer because what the beauty about Ballista is it can ping. I know it might seem very innocuous. It's obviously banned in Pioneer, which is why we haven't seen it.
Sorry, Lawrence or 2 jumping in chat going, Pieter not playing humans, what dimension is this?
That's what I told him. I was like, why aren't you playing humans when I sat down against him? Because I have a really good matchup against humans. And when I played against him and the second time around, he's just like, nope, humans is not a good meta. And that's why he spoke to Jacques about this list.
Sorry, can I just ask a question? Why is there a counter on the canopy? What was the card that Ricardo played that put the counter on the canopy?
I think it's using a marker to say it's an island.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a counter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's now no longer a canopy. It's now an island.
Yeah. So,
that's so rude.
So the beauty about Spreading Seas is also it draws Ricardo, so it allows him to dig in a control matchup. Also knowing that there's a lot of Tron or big mana decks that can be pesky, right? Some creature lands. So that also, if people are greedy with their mana bases. Spreading Seas can really check that. So the dual colors
Will
that don't
this
play blue,
resolve?
no.
No.
Not
So
the way
I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, Ricardo and his blue-white control is very much in control right now. Live totals here really don't mean too much.
Well, the real thing is Teferi. Teferi drawing him an extra card every turn.
Sure.
And so basically, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, very strong planeswalker. It hasn't seen a lot of play because of Unholy Heat's printing in Modern Horizons 2, allowing people with Delirium to just deal 6 damage.
Just burn Teferis, which is what's supposed to happen to Teferis.
Well, I know Teferi is supposed to shift time.
No.
right?
Teferi is just supposed to burn.
Well,
It's like a fire starter.
yeah. Well, says the player who wants to play Nicol Bolas.
Yeah, but I like Nicol Bolas. Nicol Bolas is a friendly dragon card.
Well, you see,
person.
this is the beauty about
Planeswalker.
Magic is it includes all types, right? So Magic is there for everyone to find what they enjoy, and this is really crucial about understanding your deck, right? If you don't play that style,
What's that?
to Sanctify and Vic,
Okay, so another one.
another one, yeah. So if you are playing a deck and you're not playing it in the style that it's meant to be played, because you're say an aggro player and it's a mid-range deck, or it's a control deck and
Reaction is correct. We are incorrect.
Yeah.
We have labeled this deck incorrectly, and I've just seen why.
Green Oi.
Because we are Jeskai control, not blue-white control.
Well, we're prismatic ending being the thing. I guess we can call it Jeskai because of the fire ice playing into the fire ice, and the prismatic ending's really strong, allowing him to have a nice diversity. And you can
We
see
have seen that card a lot today.
prismatic ending.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful printing. So a lot of blue-white control lists were pushed out because
Okay, so
of
Peter, recognizing that he's got no way to come back into this right now, not with Teferi at that size anyway.
Teferi, I think his ultimate.
I think he was on 7 at that time.
Yeah, it was
so-
very
so-
He
close
wasn't
to it.
far away, but all the other cards in his hand was just too much.
So if I'm not mistaken, Teferi's ultimates, whenever you draw a card, you exile a permanent. So noticing that.
This is why you burned Teferi! I mean, come on!
Well, I mean, you see the power of the turn one chalice.
Sure.
So sorry, turn 2 chalice on 1.
Absolutely. Chalice is devastated.
Yeah, it's, forcing Ricardo forcing Peter not to have his Arbor Elf is huge.
Yeah.
Because that's where Green White actually gets its engine from. I think it only plays one drop, if which
I think his decision, because if I'm not mistaken, he did play a Skyclave apparition.
yeah.
So obviously he did have it in his hand, and obviously didn't value the Chalice of the Void on 1 that much, because I think he had mostly big mana curve.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he played around it, but I think looking at this matchup, maybe even the Chalice might be a little bit too slow, or depending on what you want
Just
hit.
to come into the guys in chat real quick, there are no helixes in Ricardo's deck.
Yeah. So the red spells are
Fire and Ice.
Fire, Ice, and that's it. That's why it kind of So the reason
pretty much.
that's why I kind of say it's a blue-white control.
Well, Aimless is saying it's a blue-white
Okay,
X control.
Did I say the
Yeah.
Wear and Tear, I think, is also a ranged spell.
Yeah, but that's sideboard, so...
Anything else there?
So these triumphs are obviously playing a very, very interesting space in Modern right now, allowing colors to splash. I mean, I play 1 triumph to kind of allow my turn 1, fetch it, 1 in the deck, fixes my mana, and it allows everything to go through. And that's part of the power of it, and also allowing him to cycle through. How many triumphs is Ricardo playing?
Looks like just the one. There's a
Rugrin.
Rogrim Triumph, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. So no.
I'm just looking at Peter's sideboard, and I'm just trying to think of what he could bring in.
So he's probably going to play Veil of
I
Summer.
was going to say Veil of Summer might be a good include.
So Veil of Summer is, so Peter's told me he managed to save a Pendelhaven with the Veil of Summer.
Okay.
Someone targeting a spreading sea, using a spreading seas to target his land. Pendelhaven, you could see how in game 2, myself and again when I was on stream with Pieter, using the Pendelhaven to kind of buff up the Walking Ballista. So
Yep.
in response to me trying to kill his creature, he can take off a counter whilst it's got lifelink, start to go infinite just because even though it's got one counter, the
Gave it +1, +2
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Very strong. You usually see it also found in the elves. I know Jacques just told him put that one in there, right? And I was like, why did you put it in there, man?
Because Jacques told me to.
And you generally do what Jacques tells you to do. He's one of those players that. And Jacques told me to play Rhinos today, and I mean it was
close.
It was a very strong game. I think there were a few games that could have been misplayed. So
Okay,
Jacques made a
crack.
yeah, really good call. So does Pieter have the turn 1 Arbor Elf? That is really the question here. This is probably his opportunity. The question would be also whether Ricardo sideboarded out the chalices. I think he possibly could. Just being on the draw, it kind of doesn't help.
Oh.
And it also mutes the Utopia spell, so it could be a concession. But I think Ricardo has a much bigger game that he probably won't worry about the chalices. There's much better he might even put a Wear Tear because it's got a better response against
Heliod on the board,
Yeah.
and he'll take a pain.
Yeah, so the reason you'd put a Wear Tear in is to ensure that so if a Walking Ballista came off, Coco, he's got an instant speed response to it.
Sure.
It also is a better response to Utopia Sport. So, Ricardo, seasoned player, going to ensure that he has as much opportunity to get through, or you want a lot more versatility in his spells, especially in a control deck. When your answers don't line up well, you start to find a problem because then you draw the wrong half of your deck and you're not finding the right kind of cards to match the other opponent.
Absolutely, and the one interesting thing I'd like to put in as well is Ricardo, both games so far, has sacked his fetch land to search for the trio. So obviously valuing that 3 different color mana quite a lot, so that he has options to many different cards in his.
Well, I think the reason as well is he's playing Prismatic Ending. So Prismatic Ending is the one thing that can answer Helioid directly. So and it's a 3 mana spell. So ensuring that he has that red mana or white mana on turn 3 so that he can go for his versatility. He wants to give himself all the opportunity because as long as
Teferi 3 in hand, considering to play it out now.
I think he's only going to hold a counter spell up. If Pieter doesn't play anything, probably drawing 2 cards off it, getting it a little bit deeper, knowing that because this is a special turn, right? If Pieter decides to Coco, you see they're just eating that Archmage's Charm.
There we go.
Right? Cool. The question he was wanting to know is, does he have that Coco?
Sure.
That's the way he loses instantly on the spot. You can, he hits Spike Feeder and game's over.
Yeah.
We're going to have to shuffle up and go to the next
Well,
game.
although I think Ricardo does have the Teferi, so he could push it to the late game if he wants to.
He's got Teferi 3 in hand.
Well, look here.
Teferi 5 is the one that can
The
basically
thing,
keep you from milling and keep control of the game.
the problem with that is bouncing it doesn't ensure the safety against Coco, right? So if Coco goes, you bounce
15?
it.
No, but I'm just saying that if Pieter did go for the infinite life, Ricardo still has a chance of winning. It's not like he's completely out of it.
Yeah, well, this
It
is
would be a very long game.
this
but
is this is the tightrope you play with control, right? You pull the trigger too early, and you take yourself out of them responding to that. So he doesn't want to give himself that, right? Because he's already a game up, right? This is the game that he wants to win, so that he doesn't have to go through a third game, train himself, right? Rather take the breaks. These games can go long, and a lot of respect for Ricardo playing control, and you can see he went 5-1, meaning that he never went to time ever. Most of the problems with control decks is that people don't play efficiently or fast, and that's probably why I don't take a control deck to a big tournament like this, because I'd probably end up going to time, like overthinking every decision. Whereas Ricardo's been playing control, he plays it in standard.
Sorry guys, can I just ask the timing on that? The Veil of Summer came down after exactly, yeah. So it was a timing thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Tapping down
Yeah.
the big forest again.
huge play, denying him of 3 land. So Pieter just floating the mana, allowing it to cycle in response.
And taking an oof from it, right?
No, he's just using it to cycle,
Okay.
but also you'll take a pain there for.
See, this is a very good position for Ricardo because 3 Utopia Sprawls aren't going to kill you. So
No.
you're not really too worried about him having excess mana.
So
Your
ticking
main
up-
worry is what he can play from that mana. So
You guys say that, but you guys didn't experience the power of Arbor Elf and,
Sure.
and Utopia Sprawl,
yeah,
right?
there's a difference in Ricardo having 6 lands and you having 1.
Exactly.
Yeah, well,
Now big and little Teferi on the board. This is where I just leave.
yeah. Well, Peter, he's playing in top 8. You'll really see a person. They'll play it out till the end.
I know.
Just to, you know, you never know.
You're already there, you might as well push it.
So my Giants go squash.
Yeah. And yeah, so I think this is starting to see Ricardo kind of starting to get the advantage of those 2 Teferis. And yeah, it's not where Peter wants to be. It's not how, you know, if this was the case, if I was in Peter's position, I'd probably still be in a much worse off position playing Control. Control is one of the hardest games. I looked at my sideboarding guide and it just says right off game 1. Just don't even worry about it. You have to play this instant speed game against him. And the only thing that's at instant speed for Peter is Coco. And
What did he play then?
Even then, now
that
it's
Veil
not
of
nothing.
Summer?
Nothing for him is instant speed. He can't play instant speed spells.
well, what you can see here is Peter playing Veil of Summer main phase, right?
Yeah.
But
So-
he doesn't get to draw a card from it, does he?
No, what he is doing right now
Or he
is
doesn't get protection.
no, he is doing it to play around counterspell. So even though Teferi does say that you can't play, you have to play at sorcery speed. If that resolves, that allows him to Coco for free.
Sure.
Right? Without having to worry, without having to have any kind of doubt that the spell is resolving. And that's why they're in the deck. They're there to give you that certainty. And this is
Okay.
the
So
power
so
of it,
Ricardo letting it resolve, which meaning whatever he plays now will resolve. So Coco.
right? So Ricardo allowing this to happen because he's got both Teferis, right? So if
He's
he
got to
gets,
see what Peter hits here. If he whiffs again,
yeah, so if he's looking to get lucky here, he is in a position where he's hell bent. If he gets Spike Feeder, I almost thought that was a hero right there. Then Ricardo would be shuffling up and kind of going through. But
I don't think you would. I mean, saying that the fairy's out in play, I think you could probably mill the guy out or play the game too long. I don't know how viable that is, but
so
it's difficult to throw away a game.
So you get
when
2
have
plus
that
1.
much of an advantage and you're already 1-0 up.
no,
Even if he has a target.
it wouldn't be that. It'd be the instant combo that he wouldn't be able to interact with. Right. So if he hits a Helioid company there,
No, true, but
Spike
he
Feeder automatically instantly wins you the game.
Well, he
And
doesn't
then-
because it doesn't kill your opponent. It just gains you infinite life. And that's what I'm saying with the
Yeah, okay, for
Jeskai
sure.
control. With the Teferi out in 5, if you get it to max and ulti, you basically take over the game. There's
Yeah,
nothing,
for sure.
Nothing
Well, yeah. So
company can do with 1 mana if it gets to that.
yeah, look here. I hope that doesn't get to stream because we will just be
Yeah, I
seeing.
think we'll let them play by themselves.
look,
We'll just go.
Yeah. So
Or bash.
yeah, exiling, ensuring that there is. So I'm guessing.
Pew pew.
Look, yeah. So Peter just getting the life just to give him a little bit more extra advantage, but. The real lock between Big Teferi is when it starts to just bounce itself into the library.
That's
and-
it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Where he
yeah.
could actually push it to win
Yeah.
because he would need to. Once he exiles all the lands, there's nothing else he needs to worry about from that deck. I mean,
Yeah.
it will be a grinding match, but if
Yeah.
he came here to win, I think he will accept the grinding match.
Yeah, and I think Peter is obviously he's a good oak. Like I'm not gonna lie, you could see us chatting on stream. Even we were just a bit sad to play Peter.
Reaction 172 saying he doesn't win because he'd still have Jace the Mind Sculptor somewhere in the control deck.
There's no Jace the Mind Sculptor in Ricardo's deck. I don't think so.
We can have a quick squiz again.
Because he's good, but in terms of the way this plays out,
No Jace in this deck.
yeah. So Jace gives you an advantage, but never really. You get 1 card off it with Unholy Heat in the format. Whereas a Teferi, both Teferis, you get that instant bounce, take it, control the board, and you're good to go. Versus a Jace, you get the bounce, you might get the, but it's not as powerful. It doesn't win a game, right? Little Teferi obviously more a meta call, allowing the control deck to really play on their terms, like. And forcing the opponent to play at sorcery speed is huge when you're holding up counter spells.
Absolutely. Stopping the end of turn gameplay from your opponent. It
Yeah.
is a massive bow control deck. Do not ever worry about anything. You can just play
Ooh,
things
what's
out.
going on here?
Shock Typhoon, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
Solitude, hardcast.
Oh wow.
Okay, cool.
Boom.
Interesting.
This is, yeah.
That's an exile, so he doesn't even. Does he gain the life?
I do think it does gain the life for exiling it.
Yeah.
Does
It's,
he?
What was the? Is it the life total or the the
you
power?
power,
The toughness?
Power.
And that was a
2/2. So he
So
gets the life. So it goes to 21.
So Swords of Plowshares on a creature, if you've ever played Legacy. Very powerful effect. You've seen a lot of new ephemeric combos, trying to kind of using the card at disadvantage or freeness of certain spells. As
Reaction's fighting with you guys, hey? He's saying Jace ulti does win. Big grin. What do you mean?
It does.
doesn't win on the spot. That's basically what he's saying. So
Yeah.
Your opponent, if he has a library, I think it goes into your hand. Oh no, your
It's-
hand
it's
goes
great,
into your
great.
library.
It's a
So whatever you have in your hand will go into your library. So you
Yeah.
still have to draw your lands. Your
Yeah.
hand that you have
See,
earlier.
I'm not sure about that life gain. Huh?
yeah.
It says when it dies.
Yeah, so that was he will gain the life gain of Solitude for the exile.
Solitude.
I see.
ability,
Solitude.
exile
Okay.
gives
Oh,
you-
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So Solitude has
So he's
the
not
source-
getting it off the mentor. He's getting it off the solitude. Gotcha.
Okay, so Skyclave coming down. Let's see if it eats a counterspell. I probably will.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to want to lose his little
It's-
Teferi right now.
I think Ricardo's got 2 Archmage's Charms. No, 1 and a counterspell.
Kaboom.
Oh, no, actually 2 Archmage's Charms. Yeah.
Kaboom.
So Archmage's Charm, really powerful print from Modern Horizons. Drawing 2 cards, allowing you to counterspell, and also playing a very versatile role with the gain control of a a permanent with converted mana cost of 1 or less. Stealing a hammer against Hammer Time. Even you could steal a Utopia Sprawl if
That
you
would have
wanted
been
to.
useful in that first game. We watched the Hammer Time and the 3 Colossus Hammers came down.
Who was playing that? Was it Brandon?
Yes, Brandon.
Brandon, yeah.
Brandon.
Brandon playing my deck there. Really, I was just like, I love that deck. It's got some really intense plays. Also kind of got a combo feel to it.
Oh.
That's
So-
a massive hit.
Yeah, Spreading Seas, turning it into
An
an
island.
and then Utopia Sprawl, needing it to be attached to a forest, making it very similar to the Blood Moon and Urza Saga.
Sure.
Converting it, well, maybe a little bit different. Brad
Blood Moon turns everything into mountains.
turns it into a mountain. So Brad, the head judge here, explained to me. He gave me a little bit of a schooling lesson on why the enchantment goes into the graveyard, and it's not because it turns into a mountain. Because it is a mountain that has zero. It goes into a basic mountain, has 0 sagas, and saga say that if you have number of counters
Correct.
equal to the number of saga chapters,
Yes.
then you
Then it
bet
gets
dies,
destroyed, yeah.
right? So basically, because there's no chapters on the saga,
Wow, that's rough.
right? So it's not because it becomes a mountain. So very
Because
different.
there's no counters on it.
Yeah, because there's no counters. So that's how the sagas work. And
Okay.
so we all know. So I was talking to him about how
Counters.
we know certain interactions in the game, but we don't actually understand the rules dynamics of it, and gets huge. Like I think there was a
Is
misplay
that a
from
memory
me.
deluge?
Um,
So that is a nice, interesting add to the deck.
That's the draw 3. So I think it's pretty locked up for Ricardo. He's just spinning the wheels until he finds. He's actually looking to ultimate Teferi. I think
Yeah.
once Pieter sees the ultimate, because he's trying to keep that in check. And so for instance, I learned something against Pieter today. I had an option of stopping that turn 2 combo,
Yep.
having a Crashing Footfalls and a Force of Vigor. Had I responded, I had assumed that he had the turn, the mana to play it.
Yep.
Thinking that it's his turn, he can respond. But actually, as the timing of it would have been when he tapped to make the mana, and the untap trigger of
How much
of the
damage
Arbel.
is that from
To
Solitude?
kill it, and then
Yeah.
at least you won't do turn 4.
Yeah, so that would have
Turn
protected. But however, he had a really good draw, and and that's a learning curve. So when I look back at those things, you'll never miss something like that again, right?
Yeah.
Slowing down play, making sure you're going through all the sequence, and it was pretty tight, pretty tilting, but we've got to bounce back to make us better players for those reasons. So yeah, I think
Interesting here, seeing the mini Teferi bounce the creature and starting attacking with the Solitude, which is very interesting.
yeah, Solitude also allowing some life gain on it. So whenever it's got lifelink, if I'm not mistaken, allowing him to just give him a little bit of an extra edge.
Okay, now it's time to make tokens with the castle.
Yeah, you can
And
see
Pieter letting it go. So Ricardo continues his winning run, takes himself through to the semi-finals. Semi-finals after a 2-0 win here against Pieter van Niekerk.
Yeah.
Although I think Pieter is kind of happy for what happened against you. He got his combo to go off, and it did things, so for him, I suppose.
I think
it's
he's happy that he got it on stream. I'm not so happy. but look here, he's a really good player. He's a great, very strong player. And that's how we learn to play better.
Let's have a look if there's anything still happening on table 2. Yep.
Yep. So.
Oh, no, they're not. They're done.
Yeah, they just finished up. Yeah, that looks like Sav packing up. And
Sav packing up.
And that's Simon. So I'm not sure, Simon, how it goes.
No, it was Terrence. So Sav was playing Terrence.
Terrence.
Yeah.
I just saw red Mallory Shapers.
Yeah.
Well, so he's playing Eldrazi Tron.
So we'll have to go and see how that went. But we'll be right back with the semi-finals in just a minute. Don't go away. Okay, hello chat. Can you hear me? There we go. All right. First of all, just to jump back to say, Rajoa Preto, first time chat from a viewer. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for jumping in on the stream and watching it. I know you guys were all excited about having a good showdown for the final, but it has been decided by the players who all know each other very well that they're going to split top 4. And to explain how that's going to work to us is Kiran Chetty. He's just going to let everybody know exactly what the decision is that's been taken here at the finals.
Yeah, so the prizes are fantastic. There's boosters, there's merch, there's obviously the first prize, like the big cash prize, and we're splitting the EV. The expected value is fantastic at this point. You take it. We're splitting it 4 ways. Everyone walks away happy, and most importantly, we have an early evening, which I haven't had for the last few nights. I get to go out and have a beer, by 6 o'clock, and I'm very happy.
Well, there you go. I hope that Kiran, what have you thought of the 3 days we've had?
Wonderful, truly wonderful initiative by you, Chrisman, and Adam, and the rest of the EGG team. Very well run, very smoothly. But judges, kudos to the judging team. Brad and Jonathan did a good job. So very impressed, and hopefully, I'm sure it can only go into bigger and better things and just continue to grow from here. So fantastic, very happy.
Thank you. Our plan for next year is bigger, so that's going to be a thing. But to everybody else out there, thank you so much for joining us over these last 3 days. We hope you've enjoyed the magic that's been on show for you. Again, it's one of those things, and I think it's worked out for the best for everybody. At the end of the event, it's been a long weekend for everybody. I mean, Kiran, you've been here all 3 days. So it's been a really long weekend for some people. But for the rest of you out there, thank you so much for joining in. We're glad that you enjoyed the paper magic, and we will let you know when the next event is happening, and you can take it from there. I get you a lot of I get you.
Clinton, next time you win and be in top 4, then you can play, okay?
Yeah, there we go. All right, guys, we're going to call it a night. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for joining us over the weekend. Don't forget, you can catch all the streams on Twitch for the next couple of days. We'll be downloading those streams and chopping them up into some highlights packages of some of the coolest plays that we had on stream for you guys to see on our YouTube channel through the course of the week. Deck lists will go up on the website from tomorrow. We'll start putting those lists up. There are quite a few, so give us a couple of days to get them all up. But other than that, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Kiran. Thanks to the rest of the players. And everybody else, take it easy. Peace and love, y'all. Good night.